This time we'll be taking a look at how to replace the batteries in your Game Boy cartridges and even preserve the data on them. I'm Enigdu and this is Retro Revive. Game Boy games, like many games of its time, stores saved information on volatile memory that requires constant power to retain data. This means every cartridge has its own battery. Over time they die, and just like that you can't save your game anymore. We're in the 15 to 20 year range where a lot of these batteries tend to die. So here's a look at how to replace your batteries and even preserve the save data on them. There's a method floating around out there that you can preserve the save data by replacing the battery while the game is running. While this process may be possible, when I tried I accidentally shorted something which corrupted the save game and kind of negated the whole process to begin with. Not to mention you run the risk of melting the Game Boy or cartridge's plastic casing. On the other hand, there are devices out there specifically designed for backing up and restoring your Game Boy game's save data. While some are expensive, I was able to pick up this Brain Monster on Amazon for less than 20 bucks. I'll include a link in the description below. While it's possible it may not work with every game, it's known that it'll work with every Game Boy and Game Boy Color Pokemon game. All you have to do is plug your game into your Brain Monster, plug your Brain Monster into your Game Boy, start it up. From the main menu, select Memory, then Backup. Put in your desired name, doesn't really matter. I put in Y for yellow version. And select Begin Backup. Wait for it to back up and you're good to go. You can select Restore at the Memory Backup menu to make sure it's there. Now that it's backed up, it's time to open it up. All you have to do is unscrew the security screw on the back, flip it over, slide down the front, and lift it off. I always take out the motherboard when I solder it. Before you desolder the battery, make sure you take note of the battery's orientation, as you're going to be putting in the new battery the exact same way. Using a pair of tweezers, pinch the battery on the top and bottom to create slight pressure between the board and battery. Apply the soldering iron to the first side. Once the solder melts, you may need to apply additional pressure on the board with the iron for the tab to separate. Picking it up with the tweezers by the battery, not too high, melt the solder on the second tab. The board will fall free from the old battery. It's time to bring in the new battery. You may need to snip off the tabs a little bit for it to fit. Melt the solder on the first pad where the old battery was soldered and slide in the appropriate tab from the battery. The trick is to heat the metal tab too so the solder will adhere to it. Solder in the second tab likewise. Add more solder if necessary. Now it's time for reassembly. Place the board back into the casing, place the front and slide it back into place. Screw the security bit back in, not too tight. I like to do it just fingertip as to not strip the plastic. Now that your game has the new battery, it's time to plug it back into the Brain Monster, plug the Brain Monster back into your Game Boy and turn it on. From the main menu, select Memory again, then Restore. Select your save. Once it's finished, you may switch it off. Place the game back in and make sure your game's restored. Let me know if this video is helpful for you, or if you have any comments or suggestions. Or if you're able to preserve the save using the more risky method. Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you.